Your manager asks you a question and you freeze. You know there's an answer somewhere, but you can't get to it. So you panic, you mumble, you try to guess, or you just stay completely silent. And later on, you think to yourself, why didn't I just say, I don't know? So this video is your cheat sheet for those exact moments. Not just what to say, but how to say it with clarity and composure and the type of confidence that gets people to trust you more, not less. So let's jump in. Where I want to start with this one is to reassure you that admitting you don't know something is going to play a large role in the first few years of your professional career. If I'm honest, it's going to play a role in your entire career. You're just going to find yourself saying it more and more in the early stages. But anytime you change jobs, change industries, you're always going to find yourself in a place, we've spoken about this a lot before, where you don't know what's going on. But the really critical thing that we want to talk about here is this idea of admitting that you don't know something, and is that going to deteriorate your reputation or make people question you? And my emphatic answer to that is it will not. You know, I've been known to speak before about this idea that our capabilities can be imagined almost as like I used to refer to it as an energy bar, but if you can just imagine this kind of long bar and there's little squares all along it, when you start your career, that bar is effectively empty. You know, you go to university, you can build out a couple of those little blocks and say, I know these things. Each day, hour, conversation you have in your career works to build upon filling up that sort of bar of knowledge, as you will. So the more you admit you don't know something, rather than seeing that as a deficit or a negative, and I know you've heard this before, it's very cliched, but cliches exist for a reason, which is that these are opportunities to build in that experience bar. So that when you get to middle management, that bar should be, you know, two-thirds full, but you're still going to be building it out as you learn and develop your skills. So, you know, in the moment, let's say, we need to acknowledge that we don't know something. So I've got a couple of little quick phrases for you. But my absolute favorite phrase that really helps counter this sensation that I'm demonstrating that I am, you know, not knowing about something effectively to the level that they think that I should, is my favorite phrase is double check. Okay. So we want to use double check as, you know, that's a great question. Let me double check and come back to you on that one. You haven't answered the question. You have not attempted to answer the question. What you have done is you've given an indication that you know something, but you want to make sure that it's really accurate because you respect that person's time and the risk that it, you know, presents them if you give them wrong information. So you want to go and double check it. Now, the amount you know about whatever they asked might be this much. You might barely know anything, but at least you're saying, let me go and double check. Secretly, while I'm double checking, if I go and happen to teach myself a bunch of stuff about what you need to know at the same time, you don't need to know that. I'm going to go and find out. I'm going to come back to you. Okay. So if anyone says to me, let me double check and I'll come back to you, I feel very safe. I feel safe in their hands. A couple of other ones you can use are things like, I'm not sure yet, but I'm happy to go and dive into it. You know, if you deliver it lightly, that's nice and innocuous, and people will go like, okay, great. She's not sure. She's going to go dive into it. I think the trick with a lot of these sentences is that so much is in the delivery and the body language. If sheer panic sets upon you and you crumple down and you kind of go, oh, I don't know, I'm not sure. Well, it's just, you know, now my confidence in you is starting to reduce because you're not sort of demonstrating to me a confident way of showing where you're at. But if you can lightly say, I'm not sure yet, but I'm happy to go dive into it, great, happy days. How about, I don't know off the top of my head, but let me go look into it. I love that top of my head, okay? I don't know right now, the information's not sitting right here, but it's back here somewhere, so I'll go get it for you, okay? I don't know off the top of my head, but I'll look into it. I love this next one as well. I'm still learning on that front, but I am keen to go and find out more. Straight out the gate, I'm still learning on that front. That doubles with another one where I say, I haven't come across that before, let me go find out some more, okay? Because at the end of the day, whether you are early career or not, although as I said, this comes up more in your early career, There are always going to be things that you haven't come across and new experiences. So to acknowledge that and say, I haven't come across that yet. I haven't experienced that yet. Let me go find out more. That's a really strong way of addressing these things. And then another one here is, that's outside of my area of expertise. I don't look after that specifically, but let me go and speak to such and such who does, or let me go and find someone whose expertise it is. That's a really good one because you've been very clear on, I don't do that. That's not, my area of expertise. And that can be a very respected response. Now, the other couple I wanted to give you really quickly was when you are in the meeting. So it takes a little bit of practice and confidence to grab a hold of a moment where there is something you don't understand. And it would be really beneficial for you to understand it in that moment so you can stay on track with whatever is being discussed, but that you can feel a little bit nervous about interrupting and getting them to stop. Because really, the act of doing so then draws more attention to yourself, which we get a little nervous by, okay? But I've got two little sentences you can say here. Super easy. First one is, sorry. You don't even have to say sorry. In fact, try to reduce how much we say sorry. But you can just, use a little wave and say, actually, can I just clarify what you mean by that? That's all I said. Can I just clarify what you mean by that? And then they can stop and go, oh, okay, this is what I mean by it. You have not added 10 sentences that say, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm really ill prepared. I have no idea. I'm not going to be able to be trusted. You're not saying any of those things in a simple sentence that says, can I just clarify what you mean by that? Okay. And then finally, another piece is just, you mentioned something earlier that I haven't come across before. Can you just take me through that? And that's a great one I use that all the time when I'm meeting new people, new organizations, partnerships. I'll say, I actually haven't come across that before. Can you just talk me through that? How does that work? And that's a great opportunity to learn something new, give them an opportunity to speak about themselves and sound really smart. And it's a win-win for everyone, okay? So you've gently used these sentences to either get the information you need or buy yourself time to go off and learn what you want. I'll end on the note that says, don't fake it until you make it. I don't buy into that concept as it is anyway, but in these situations, pretending you know something when you don't is going to cause far more damage than it is worth, okay? You can use these sentences to say, let me go double check, let me find out, I haven't come across that before, but please don't nod along as though you know something that you don't, and don't deliver wrong information knowingly, right? It's totally fine to make a mistake. It's totally fine to accidentally give wrong information, but trying to look smart and capable with information that is not solid is going to do you a disservice. So stick to these guides that I've given you, some sentences, and you will be absolutely fine.